What is up, guys? Skyler here. Today we're doing Alexander the Great versus Ivan the Terrible. Before we get into this, drop a sub if you've been watching my videos. We got the 8% rate to like 9.9 or something. We're trying to shoot through 1,000 before the end of October. So help me out. But one thing I wanted to say is if you are an avid watcher of this channel, definitely stay tuned to the end. I got a couple announcements I want to say. Let's jump straight into it. I got a pretty cool background. Look at that, look at that. I think it's pretty good with Alexander the Great.
Try to survive and no surviving. You're a land rule, I'm a land expand. You're the hand of your first law.
School you like Aristotle. We'll go back, but Aristotle was Alexander's teacher, so that's where he get that from. But when hand you your first loss, yeah, it's very interesting to pick a fight against Alexander. For the most part, he was undefeated for like 15 years, which is crazy to think about. He was a master tactician within fighting, and plus his army was just so huge. What Alexander would do is basically just take over cities and then have the people just join them. You know, not the people, like their warriors, be like, "Hey, we can do this peacefully. You can give up, or we'll invade you." And when they would give up or when they would invade, he'd just take their soldiers and march with them. So he'd constantly gain more people. So he had like a huge army. And then he had like a small part of that army was cavalry, and cavalry back in Alexander's day was just OP because you're riding around on a horse moving 2 times faster than a man could, and like you got all this room because a lot of time the cavalry would have like long ass pikes and things like that were out of reach. So it was just he was overpowering people easily. So yeah, it's very interesting he'd pick a fight with Alexander. But one thing I really liked is this line.
No surviving. You're a land rule, I'm a land.
You're a land rover, I'm a land expander, because Ivan the Terrible did expand Russia's land indefinitely. While Alexander, he's calling him. I guess he's calling him a land rover because he went and saw that land, and he did he did take it over, but he after Alexander died, it all fell apart. You know, the land expansion only lasted probably like a few months to a year after his death because it just wasn't the grip on it was too much. There was fighting. There was just too much fighting. And the line he said before this is pretty. I don't know what the Krim de la what that means, but a Kremlin is the area in which Ivan grew up, but it's also a huge force of men, like an army. So he could be Krem. He could be referencing like the huge forces arriving and things like that. But I did like
Ivan,
try to serve Ivan, no surviving.
I'm a land expand. You're the hand of your first law. School you like Aristotle. Smack your heart and then you hit that bottle. Overrated like I'll crush you in the first side of all of Russia.
That's true. Whoa, 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 whoa! Look at that throwback right there. Look at that. That's the okay. If you didn't check it out, check out the last video. They have PewDiePie here too, so definitely check it out. Where we broke this down. That's cool.
You're nothing but an overrated like I'll crush you in the first side of all of Russia. You're an asshole with an anastoli. I'm heaven sent, divine and holy. So don't even try to approach the god, or you'll get a huge shot like no good on.
Oh, okay. He's about to go in. So that he said a lot of true things right there. So you'll get a huge sack like Novgorod. That was a city under Ivan's rule that was like trying to succeed from Russia, was trying to break apart from Russia. And Ivan the Terrible had a secret army go and just ransack the place. It was a huge massacre. It was pretty crazy for that time era. I think like thousands of people died. And killing thousands of your own people, that is crazy for how many lives that was back then. Um, and the one thing I said, he said, "I'm heaven sent, divine and holy." Ivan the Terrible, although it was this crazy ruler, he was sought to believe to be heaven sent because it would take someone heaven sent to unify all Russia, like what happened. So he believed it, and he was a man of church, a man of God, and he believed it him, and the people believed it him like in him because they thought that was such a hard feat. And I did like he said, "I'm the first czar of all of Russia," which is true because people like back then they thought or people back then, what they did is they were grand princes. They didn't go by czar. Czar was something that he was the first of all. So it is true to an extent. So he's spitting some facts. And the Anna Soli says haircut. Okay, where's Alexander gonna do?
But now you got the Panhellenist from Pella Hella pissed.
That rhyme scheme.
As well as useless little Vassilievich. Let me spell out the list. I brought foes to their knees in Phoenicia, breezed through Gaza to Giza, had the Balkans, Persia, Syria, Iraq, and Pakistan in my expansion pack. While you died in the
I like that, dude. His rhyme scheme right now is pretty sick, and I like how he mentioned his conquering in my expansion pack, like it's a game. I thought that was cool, but I did like. So he said, "Little how do I pronounce that exactly?"
Pella Hella pissed, stepping up's foolish as well as useless little Vassilievich. Let me
Vasilevich, which is like the Russian term for bitch. I do know that, but it's he's saying little because belittling him, but his Ivan the Terrible's father was like Vasil the Third or something like that. Maybe the second. I'm not sure, but so he's belittling him while calling him names, which is pretty funny. And I did like the rhyme scheme at the beginning was so cool.
but now you got the Panhellenist from Pella Hella pissed.
Panhellenist from Pella Hella Piss. Panhellenist. Panhella. God, I can't say it. But that was like the belief that the unification of all Germany, or not Germany, sorry, Greece through all from like one political party, which is what Alexander's dad believed in. So he got it from that. And the Pella Hella Piss is referencing the Greek people and the city too. So that rhyme scheme was just really like cool, and the flow was amazing.
I brought foes to their knees in Phoenicia, breezed through Gaza to Giza, had the Balkans, Persia, Syria, Iraq, and Pakistan in my expansion pack. While you died in the middle of a game of chess, you got vodka bars, flavorless, and what I'm about to spit will be the craziest. So go fix me a drink so I can stay refreshed.
Kudos.
So this will be straightforward. I'll take up this sword that I brought and slice you in half like the Gordian knot. Like the eagle whose feather I was sporting, the helmet that I wore as I swatted my many enemies, shattered them like a porcelain pot, and they'd be praying for the torture to stop.
Jesus, he's going in right now, saying a lot. So one thing I wanted to reference, he was talking about the Gordian knot, which it was like this belief that whoever could untie or undo this knot would be the leader of all of Asia. Like that was the idea behind it. But the funny thing about it is Alexander couldn't figure it out. So you know what he did? He brought out his sword, like you said, and sliced the Gordian knot up instead of undoing it. That's pretty funny. And one thing I did like, and I didn't. Sadly, I interrupted the flow the first time, but he mentioned, I did all this in my expansion pack, but that's my game. Well, you died in a game of chess, which is true. Ivan had a stroke during a game of chess and died.
Well, you died in the middle of a game of chess. You got vodka bars, flavorless, and what I'm about to spit will be the craziest. So go fix me a drink.
Dude, he was going in. Oh yeah, kudos is where the word kudos comes from, which is like giving someone their props is glory. That's what it means, Greek for glory. So I like how he did that. But kudos, Greek for glory. I got that was a cool rhyme scheme.
Fix me a drink so I can stay refreshed. Kudos for the glory I got from winning every single war that I fought. So this will be straightforward. I'll take up this sword that I brought and slice you in half like the Gordian knot. And I'll soar to the top like the eagle whose feather I was sporting, the helmet that I wore as I swatted my many enemies.
Yeah, he wore a lot of helmets. Yeah, a lot of feathers.
But I would leave them contorted and they'd be screaming and roaring until their vocal cords were torn up and shot.
Jesus Christ, dude, he would. I think may have to listen to that one more time. So a couple references there, man. He was saying a lot, nothing like too crazy. I win, I vanquish. I win, I vanquish. That was a hard little line right there. And then I would holler Bucephalus, which was, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that was his horse, which is pretty funny because he actually named one of the towns he conquered after his horse. So imagine being a town where you got named after a horse. But and he was ruthless. Alexander was pretty ruthless. So he would give people the chance to submit before invading, but if he invaded, he would just destroy. But he was ruthless in a way, but he did like take up people's culture, and he learned so much from it. Alexander was quite an interesting character. So I'm gonna go back and listen to it a little bit because this rhyme scheme is pretty cool. And yeah, he did like his helmet, and along with people who fought with him, wore like large feathers and things like that. So that's cool.
Eagle whose feather I was sporting, and the helmet that I wore as I swatted my many enemies, shattered them like a porcelain pot, and they be praying.
Porcelain pots were pretty popular back then. Oh yeah, I'm immortal. You're not. Like, since Alexander won so many wars, he was crowned like prime minister, and like he also said, you know, a lot of people who were like big wartime heroes were claimed to, you know, come from gods. Like I don't know what gods Alexander claimed to be from, but he was like crowned something in Egypt, which also made him like come from Osiris as well. So he had a lot of gods on his side. So that's where he says I'm immortal, because people believed him to be a god, and he did too.
I don't stand a chance against your skills. Astrovia, a drink to your victory.
Yes, I will. It seems no one can defeat me. I weep. It's all so easy.
What's wrong?
I feel a bit queasy.
You were poisoned.
Oh, the pain is unbearable. My stomach's riddled with holes.
I'm terrible.
That is how he died.
No great who could do.
So that is kind of true. We don't know exactly how Alexander died, but he did die through massive abdominal pain. So he's saying my stomach filled with holes is true. And then he said, when he was about to drink, he said, "I weep, it's all so easy," which is a quote Alexander said. You know, the wars were so easy. There was nothing. He got to a point where there was like really nothing for him to conquer anymore. So he said, you know, it's just all so easy.
Poison.
Oh, the pain is unbearable. My stomach's riddled with holes.
I'm terrible. There's no great who could defeat this Russian.
What about a flute-busting Prussian?
Frederick the Great's about to come out with a wrestling a flute. Russian. Yep. That's true. Dude, he come out spitting some facts. So here, let me get the lyrics. So he mentions the head of state, or how he was a servant of the state instead of being head of the state. A lot of people before then said they are the head of state, but he kind of modernized it a little bit by saying he's a servant of the state, saying he's a servant of the people. And the oblique order, which is what he's talking about, oblique attacks ain't exactly straight. So usually a lot of attacks that people did was just straight on. You send a big group of men straight forward. That wasn't how Frederick did it. A lot of great attackers or generals had different ideas for it. What Frederick would do, instead of just sending all of his men straight in like a big force, he would have like a line, and he would have like a big pocket of men on like maybe on the left flank or like a right flank. That way, most people would have their lines spread out, so they were thin on all sides if the other combatant had their men grouped up in one area, which would let him cut through and eat a flank one side and just surround. And if you know, any time you're flanked back in the older days, you lost almost always. Being flanked was the ultimate way to win. So yeah, he would have a group of men, or he would have his forces just packed into one area and just surround them always. That's just how it went.
I've got creative talents and battle malice. Hard to steal in the field, genteel in the palace.
And hard to steal, genteel in the palace. He's being like a gentleman. So he's saying, you know, I'm business on the field, which he was. Frederick was a great, you know, he doesn't get as much credit, but he was a great tactician of the area, along with Alexander. But he's gentle in the palace. Like, he can be a gentleman in the palace. So that's cool. I like how he that
I've got creative talents and battle malice. Hard to steal in the field, genteel in the palace. Punches fucked up under wonder why. With your tenders and
true.
and bears, oh my. Pain gonna tear out my eyes if I had to look at your troll face every night. Oh, bring me.
If I had to look at your troll face every night, because, you know, Tsar wasn't the best looking man. He did have quite a lot of wives, but was that for his looks or his power? And I did like the Wizard of Oz reference where he said, what did he say right here? Let me hear it.
Exactly straight. I've got creative talents and battle malice. Hard to steal in the field, genteel in the palace. Punches fucked up under wonder why. With your tenders and targets.
With your tundras, taigas, and bears.
Oh my,
Oh my, that's a Wizard of Oz reference. He's wondering, you know, how Russia's so fucked up. It could be a joke because, you know, lots of messed up corruption and dictators screwed up Russia, which is true. I like
God,
that.
tear out my eyes if I had a look at your trophies every night. Now bring me my chair. I'm weary from tearing you a new derriere from here to Red Square. For the 7 years, I ain't scared of a czar. 'Cause beating you only took me 12 bars.
Look at Frederick killing it, dude. So I did like how he said, "I'm not scared." He fought in the 7 Years' War, which is true. He did, and he fought Russians as well. But what happened is, whoever the Russian leader, who was the Russian leader at the time? It wasn't Catherine. It was a woman, I think. Don't remember her name. She died. Was it Queen Elizabeth? Maybe it was. I think it was Elizabeth. She died, and whoever took the guy who I think it was Peter took over the Russian crown and withdrew Russia because he liked Frederick. So it's very interesting. And I like how he said it took him 12 bars because Frederick was actually a really skilled what's the word for it? Artist. So that's why it took me 12 bars. He knows his bars, and he knows it. And he said, "I beat your ass all the way from this seat to the Red Square," which is the town in which Ivan the Terrible came from.
Tearing you a new derriere from here to Red Square. For the 7 Years' War, I ain't scared of a czar. 'Cause beating you only took me 12 bars.
Oh, what a humiliating defeat!
Jesus
I
Christ.
know when I am beat, so of course, take a seat.
I keep ripping you to shreds, but I'll take a break instead and just rest my little head.
Why don't you drop dead, Fred?
These references they have. So Alexander died to stomach holes, and Frederick did die to. I was about to say Frederick Douglass. Frederick died just sitting on a chair. He just died. I think it was he had a heart attack or something on a chair and just died. So that's the joke from him. He didn't even have to kill him. He just died.
My expectations were a lot higher. But at least I saved the rubles on the granite wire. It's another great day and another great victory. 'Cause no great can beat me.
What about me, Pompey?
Yeah!
Oh, what is Pompey gonna say? I was about to. Oh, I was not expecting that. I was about to say, what could Pompey say? He didn't really do much. After you know, he tried to seek power, but he was assassinated really, really early. He was assassinated before even doing anything. So that's actually pretty funny, and I don't exactly know who it is. It's pretty funny.
Macedonians, Prussians, and Romans, those unworthy opponents. It takes a Russian to take down a Russian. I'm a cat, you're a rodent.
Ah, Catherine the Great. Funny fact, Catherine is actually not a Russian. So when she says it takes down a Russian to take, she's not referencing herself, probably. She's probably referencing the only people, see, even invading Russia, you couldn't invade Russia. It was too hard, too much land, and it would get cold. The winter would be unbearable. But you know who are the best people at taking down Russia? Their own leaders. Destroyed Russia with all the dictators and things like that. So it takes a Russian to take down a Russian is what I'm guessing she's actually referencing. It's all the trash dictators before and corruption.
I'm a cat, you're a rodent.
Cat wrote it. I like that. She's saying you were unstable, which is true. Ivan the Great was very unstable. His dad died when he was extremely young, and his mom was assassinated when he was young too. So you know he didn't really have parents and like that. And then he said, what she said is that you stuck a spike through your own son. Yeah, he killed his son with a staff. What happened is Ivan the Terrible hit his son's wife, struck her, and it caused a miscarriage. And when the son figured out that that's why the miscarriage happened, went and confronted him, and it ended up Ivan the Terrible ended up killing his own son. That is crazy to think about. You know, that just tells you the mindset, how unstable he actually was.
How the hell I stay when the That's such sick shit going through your brain, and you set the spike through your own son. You're on balance, like I on balance. The European powers with the wars I wage. Like a Russian empire of the olden days, and right into the golden age.
That's true. That's true. She did bring it. It was kind of a feudalist golden age, but it was still a golden age. It was like took a lot of culture in then. And one thing I did like how he said is we're both unstable, but the difference between ours is she's meaning the power that she brought to Russia was stable. She she was her grandson was Peter the Great, so she took reference from that and she was a massive powerhouse. She took over an area in the Black Sea and was wreaking havoc on Europe. She wasn't going to crazy wars or anything like that, but she was killing it. She did great. So she's saying, it's a different type of unstable. You're unstable, why I cause the unstable. That's cool.
Such a crazy one, and such sick shit going through your brain, and you set the spike through your own son. You're on balance, like I on balance. The European powers with the wars I wage. Like a Russian empire of the olden days, and right into the golden age.
That's true.
Must be, say you just can't meddle with this. Whole battle's like Alaska, 'cause I settled it.
That's true. She encouraged Russians to go settle in Alaska. Very true. Go back a little bit. I don't know.
Alaska, 'cause I settled it.
What a beautiful queen to beat me in a battle. Accept this gift, your highness, I hear you. Enjoy the saddle.
That made me the most disrespectful things. So why he offered her a horse, Ivan's death or like offers and things like that have been a reference to the character's deaths. It's not confirmed on how Catherine died exactly, but one of the ways that was speculated she dies was she was fornicating with a horse, or the horse was doing her, and what they had is the carriage that held the horse collapsed and fell on top of her, and she died. That is one of the ways that she's said to die. I don't think it's exactly confirmed, but yeah, so that's what he's referencing there. That's actually hilarious.
Gift, your highness, I hear you. Enjoy the saddle.
That whole story is a pile of shit.
Okay.
Keep jumping at the bit. But you're never gonna get it yet. Couldn't spin in my chamber if there's a Russian roulette. Pick it up.
I like the "niet" line, but one thing I did like is I keep them chopping at the bit. She's saying she's still got the guys coming, and she likes to play, but I have them chop at the bit. The bit is what you have in a horse's mouth, like to pull them. So that's what he's referencing. I keep them chopping at the bit. That was a cool line.
Never gonna get it yet.
And the
Couldn't spin in
chamber,
my chamber
because
if
she
there's a
did
Russian
have
roulette.
like a
Pick it
sex
up,
chamber.
the great left off. Bring sexy back to house Roman on. Don't call me queen. I'm far more great. Empress design, hey bitch. Checkmate.
Starred here, let's go over the reference. He's referencing the chess reference because he died in a chess match. Empress to Tsar 8, Queen space or to 8. So Empress to King on space 8, bitch, checkmate. That was hard. That was a really hard line actually. And she's saying I'm picking up where Peter the Great left off. Like I said, his grandfather or her grandfather, and that's where she got all of her inspiration from. She did great as a leader. All right, that was is that all they got? The checkmate, bitch. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that was actually a really good battle. If I had to pick, it's probably between Alexander and Catherine. I don't know. Pompey was pretty good though. I think I'm gonna go with Alexander. I don't think literally killing your competition is the way to go. So I think Catherine got disqualified by murdering Pompey, even though he didn't really do shit to begin with. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Alexander. But the announcements I had is one, follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna be, once I get enough ERB followers, I'm going to doing polls to really gauge what people want to see. Two, leave a comment down below on what you may want me to react to that isn't ERB as well. You can leave an ERB and then leave one that isn't ERB, because what my goal is to have videos ERB every other day and start working in something else in between that every once in a while. Because these ERBs, there's not an infinite amount. Eventually it'll run out, so we'll get used to other things as well. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, and I appreciate everyone who came by. Drop a sub.